Our members are fed up. Our members deserve more, and if they continue down this path, then, we'll continue to amp up.
Well, you hear there, that's a threat from the president of the United Auto Workers Union striking at this hour tonight. There's no sign of an agreement, and we are learning that strike, in fact, could expand soon. Good to see you. Thanks for sticking with us at 5:30. I'm Andrew Kinsey.
And I'm Colin Dorsey. Yolanda is off tonight. And the Friday deadline, the UAW is set before pulling plants offline, now just days away. And this as the unions representing the actors and writers of your favorite movies and shows are months deep into their strikes. And today I got a look at what's happening with these unions as they wait for an agreement. From auto plants to the folks who write your favorite TV shows, the summer of 2023 has become the summer of strikes. On the silver screen, the writers' strike has been going on for 4 months, and the actors' union, SAG-AFTRA, has been on strike for 2. In Columbus, local SAG-AFTRA members rallied at OSU.
Our concerns must be voiced.
Former OSU standout athlete and now actor Otis Winston says they're fighting the use of artificial intelligence and waiting on better pay and health care.
It's not fair that 87% of actors and 92% of writers don't qualify for health insurance. That's ridiculous to me.
He says whether it's SAG-AFTRA or the UAW, they're standing together to push back.
It's the working people that make the studios and make the car industry what it is. They're not there without people clocking in every day, every night.
The UAW walking out on plants in Toledo, Detroit, and Wentzville, Missouri last week. The UAW president releasing this video saying more plants will grind to a halt if they don't have a deal by Friday.
We're going to keep hitting the company where we need to, when we need to. And we're not going to keep waiting around forever while they drag this out.
In Toledo, UAW members at the Jeep plant growing anxious about making ends meet during the strike.
Some people are nervous because they're paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people are paycheck to paycheck, and they're just scared.
He says regardless of how long it lasts, he'll be standing out there with the UAW, just like members of the writers and actors unions.
It's our turn to get a little bit of the piece of the pie. We're not asking for the whole pie. We're just asking for more than a crumb.
I want to bring in CBS correspondent Chris Van Cleve now. He joins me now from Detroit, Michigan. Now, Chris, you've been reporting from the strikes for several days now. There's got to be a little bit of anxiety among members, but what is really the overall feeling among these UAW members?
Well, Colin, good to be with you in Columbus. What we've heard from strikers in Toledo, people on the line here at the Ford plant in Wayne, is that they didn't want to strike, and they're worried about a long strike and what that means for their ability to pay their bills. But they firmly believe the strike was necessary in order to get a labor deal that they felt would allow them to keep up with inflation, the cost of living, and address some of the issues that they feel are just fundamentally unfair about the way the way that their jobs are structured right now. There's a tiered system for auto workers. Folks that were hired before 2007 are paid at a different rate than folks that came in 2007 or after the Great Recession. They want to see that go away because right now you have a situation where you do have some auto workers that are making nearly double the person next to them on the line for doing the same work.
Yeah, and of course there's always a kind of a cause and effect when you have this many people go on the picket lines at one time. I remember that when John Deere went on strike in 2021. Certainly a ripple effect when it comes to businesses and restaurants that these union members typically frequent, especially in towns like the size of Toledo.
Yeah, so the mayor of Toledo laid out, there's the loss in taxes from the folks that are on the line, and that impacts the city, and that's several $100,000 there. And then you talk to the businesses around the plant. They're the ones that are feeling it right now. We were at a restaurant yesterday that has lowered their prices to try to help out the strikers, but they've also had to lay off some workers. And they've noticed a drop in their business because they're a heavily frequented Jeep establishment, and all those folks are on the picket line. So they're not eating out the way they normally would when they've taken basically a 60% pay cut by going on strike. We're starting to see warn notices being filed here in the state of Michigan. A few hundred employees at an auto supplier here, a few hundred over there. So the ripple effect is starting to be felt by suppliers and even automakers. GM fully expects to have to idle a plant in Kansas any day now when it runs out of parts because the Missouri plant that makes the parts is shut down. Ford has temporarily laid off 600 union workers at a plant here because of the strike here. The auto workers say that's a tactic. The automakers say we can't build cars if we don't have the parts.
All right, Chris, thank you. A lot of important information there. That was CBS correspondent Chris Van Cleve from Detroit.